Walter Mitty is a photo printing manager at a famous magazine company called Life. One morning, he is quietly scrolling through the online dating profile of his coworker, Cheryl. Walter has feelings for her, but despite working in the same office, he has never had the courage to even start a conversation with her. From her profile, Walter learns that Cheryl is a single mother who is drawn to adventurous men. That description feels completely opposite to who Walter is. He is introverted and has never really gone anywhere or done anything exciting. Even so, feeling nervous but hopeful, Walter finally works up the courage to send a like to Cheryl's profile. Unfortunately, the app suddenly glitches and nothing goes through. He heads to work as usual. While waiting for the train, Walter calls the dating app's customer service to report the problem. The operator explains that before sending a like, Walter needs to complete his own profile first. After checking, it turns out many sections are still empty. Questions about where he has traveled, what great things have happened in his life, and what his life goals are. Hearing those questions, Walter has no answers. His life has been quiet and uneventful for as long as he can remember. While still on the call, he suddenly notices something strange happening in a building across the street. In his mind, Walter runs toward the collapsing building, watches it explode, and heroically saves a dog at the last second. Moments later, he snaps back to reality, realizing it was all just another daydream. This is the moment that defines his inner world. Welcome to the secret life of Walter Mitty. When Walter arrives at the office, he finds a birthday package waiting on his desk from a photographer named Shawn. Inside the box are several photo negatives, a wallet, and a handwritten note thanking Walter for his dedication over the past 6 years. Shawn credits Walter as the person who helped turn his photographs into masterpieces for Life magazine. In the note, Shawn also mentions that photo number 25 is the best photo he has ever taken. As Walter checks the negatives, he realizes that photo number 25 is missing. Before he can figure it out, a coworker suddenly asks him to bring that exact photo to an emergency meeting. Panic sets in. Walter tells his assistant, Hernando, to keep searching for it while he tries to buy some time. During the meeting, the manager, Ted, announces that the next issue of Life will be their final print edition, as the company is transitioning to an online format. Ted then asked Walter to present Shawn's photo number 25 to be used as the cover of the magazine's last issue. Nervous and unprepared, Walter asks for more time, claiming the photo is still being processed. After the meeting ends, Walter finally gathers the courage to talk to Cheryl and explains his situation. Unfortunately, no one knows where Shawn is. All anyone knows is that Shawn does not use a phone and spends his life traveling around the world. Seeing how troubled Walter is, Cheryl promises to help him search for Shawn. Later, during his break, Walter's sister tells him she managed to buy back their late father's piano, which had been sold years ago. The problem is that their apartment is too small to fit it. As the main provider for the family, Walter has no choice but to spend a lot of money to move them into a larger place. Before he returns to work, his sister gives him a childhood birthday gift, a pull toy he used to love when he was young. Back at the office, Hernando finds a new clue while reviewing Shawn's printed photos. One image shows a ship with the name Erkigsnek written on it. Hernando becomes convinced that Shawn must be on that ship right now. As Walter is leaving, he runs into Ted inside the elevator. Seeing Walter carrying a toy into the office immediately irritates Ted. He scolds Walter for not taking his job seriously and demands the magazine cover photo number 25 right away. Exhausted and overwhelmed, Walter briefly imagines standing up to Ted, the confrontation turning into a dramatic fight that spills out onto a busy street. Moments later, reality sets in once again. It was all just another fantasy. Ted coldly warns him that if they meet again and the photo is still missing, Walter will be fired.
Give it to me! No!
Walter then goes to Cheryl and tells her about the ship named Erkigsnek. With some quick online searching, they manage to find its location. Suddenly, the office loses signal. Cheryl suggests picking up her son from school while looking for better reception. At the park, Cheryl receives new information from a coworker about Shawn's whereabouts. While she is busy on the phone, Walter spends time with her son, teaching him a few skateboard tricks. Despite his awkward appearance, Walter once had a bold past, complete with a mohawk hairstyle and even a first-place win in a skateboarding competition. After the call ends, Cheryl shares the news that Shawn is now in Greenland. Hearing this, Walter feels both relieved and uncertain. The mystery is finally becoming clearer, but Greenland is incredibly far away, especially for someone who has never left his comfort zone. Back at the office, Walter cannot stop thinking about what will happen if he still fails to find photo number 25. Lost in thought, he imagines Shawn encouraging him to step outside his comfort zone and come looking for him in Greenland. This time, Walter does not just imagine it. He heads straight to the airport and actually goes. Upon arriving in Greenland, Walter visits a local bar to ask about the ship Erkigsneck. While talking with the bar owner, a drunk man suddenly approaches and pressures him to sing along. When Walter refuses, the man becomes aggressive and attacks him. During the struggle, Walter notices a ring on the man's thumb that looks exactly like one seen in Shawn's photographs. The moment Shawn's name is mentioned, the man stops fighting. Once things calm down, he explains that Shawn was there a few days earlier and had taken a photo of his hand. The man turns out to be a delivery courier who is about to bring a package to the ship Erkigsneck. He invites Walter to come along by helicopter, hoping Shawn might still be on board. At first, Walter hesitates. The weather looks dangerous and the courier is clearly still drunk. With no other options left, Walter finally agrees. It becomes his first real adventure, flying in a helicopter far from anything familiar. When they reach the ship, the courier tells Walter to jump down onto the deck while holding the package. He confidently insists that Walter will make it. Trusting him, Walter leaps into the sea and nearly becomes shark food, but somehow manages to survive. Once aboard, the ship's captain explains that Shawn had already left the previous day, transferring to another ship bound for Iceland. Walter asks the ship's captain to contact the other vessel by radio. Unfortunately, the radio package Walter carried earlier has fallen into the sea, leaving them unable to reach anyone. With no other options, Walter can only wait until the ship docks. That night, the crew welcomes Walter warmly and even offers him a piece of cake. One of the sailors explains that the cake was a gift from Shawn when he stayed on the ship the day before. While eating, Walter notices strange writing on the cake wrapper. The crew member explains that Eyjafjallajökull is the name of a volcano in Iceland. Just like that, Walter gains a new clue about where Shawn went next. When the ship finally reaches the harbor, Walter is urged to hurry. There is only one bicycle available in the area, and many crew members want to use it. Hearing this, Walter sprints as fast as he can, manages to grab the bike, and rides off along a quiet road that seems to stretch endlessly ahead. As he takes in the scenery, the dating app operator calls again, asking how Walter is doing and where he is now. Walter explains that he was just in Greenland, where he nearly got eaten by a shark, and that he is now in Iceland, heading toward the Eyjafjallajökull volcano. The operator is impressed and offers to help fill in the profile sections Walter left blank. After the call ends, Walter loses focus and crashes into a pole. The bike is damaged, forcing him to continue the journey on foot until he reaches a small lodge. There, Walter meets 3 kids carrying skateboards. Suddenly, he gets an idea. He offers to trade his pull toy, confidently claiming it is strong enough to never break, even when pulled with full force. Excited by the new toy, the kids agree to trade their skateboards. With a skateboard in hand, Walter ties 2 stones to his hands and rushes toward the Eyjafjallajökull volcano. As it turns out, he is incredibly skilled on a skateboard. Along the way, he notices something strange. There is no one around. Moments later, emergency alarms sound. It turns out the entire area has already been evacuated due to an impending volcanic eruption. Luckily, a local resident shows up and gives Walter a ride to safety. After escaping the eruption, Hernando contacts Walter with bad news. If Shawn still does not deliver photo number 25, Ted plans to fire both of them. With no choice left, Walter is forced to return to America to explain everything. The next day, when Walter arrives at the office, employees are busy packing up their belongings. Many have been laid off as part of the transition from print to online publishing. When Ted arrives, he demands photo number 25. Since it is still missing, Walter is fired on the spot along with the others. Walter protests the decision. For 16 years, he dedicated himself to printing millions of photographs from photographers around the world. He never missed a single one and always worked to make life's cover photos true masterpieces. Yet because of one late photo, Ted chooses to fire him. Walter's protest is ignored. Hernando later reveals that many employees were laid off that day, including Cheryl. Hearing this, Walter rushes over, planning to comfort her and give her son the skateboard from Iceland. But when he knocks on the door, it is Cheryl's ex-husband who answers. Walter is crushed, believing Cheryl has reunited with him. He quietly leaves the skateboard behind and walks away. When Walter gets home, he looks at the wallet Shawn gave him one last time. Now that he has been fired and sees no reason to keep searching for Shawn, he throws the wallet away. As he sits quietly, staring at the piano that once belonged to his father, a realization suddenly hits him. One of Shawn's photos was actually a picture of that very piano. When Walter asks about it, his mother explains that Shawn had visited the house a few days earlier. Before leaving, Shawn asked her to pass along a message saying how proud he was of Walter and how grateful he felt for his dedication over the past 16 years. To Shawn, Walter was the one person who helped turn his photographs into true masterpieces that could be enjoyed by the world. Hearing this, Walter is deeply moved. His mother then adds that Shawn mentioned he was heading to Afghanistan to photograph snow leopards in the Himalayas. That news reignites Walter's spirit. He searches for information about the Himalayan mountains online, prepares everything he needs, and sets off for Afghanistan to continue his journey. While climbing the mountain, the dating app operator calls again. Excitedly, he shares that ever since Walter's profile was fully completed, it has been receiving thousands of likes. When he learns that Walter is at the top of the Himalayas, he even helps update the profile to attract more attention. Unfortunately, the signal at the peak is weak, and the call keeps cutting out. At that moment, Walter unexpectedly runs into a man who is annoyed by the noise interrupting his work photographing mountain wildlife. To Walter's shock, the man turns out to be Shawn. Walter is overwhelmed with happiness. After traveling from America to Greenland, then to Iceland, and finally to Afghanistan, he has at last found Shawn. Walter wonders about photo number 25, the image meant to be the cover of Life's final magazine. Shawn is confused because he had already placed that photo inside the birthday wallet he gave Walter, along with the thank you note. Hearing this, Walter is left speechless. After everything he went through searching for the photo, it had been with him all along, and he had already thrown it away. Shawn encourages Walter not to dwell on regret. Sometimes the smallest, most ordinary things can be the first step toward leaving a comfort zone and making life more colorful. Even though Shawn feels disappointed that his best photo was discarded, he chooses not to linger on it. To him, life is too beautiful to waste on sadness. Seeing children playing soccer below, he invites Walter to join them. On the way back to America, Walter is detained at the airport and mistaken for an intruder from Afghanistan. Even after showing his passport and identification, the officers believe the documents are fake. When asked if he knows anyone nearby who can vouch for him, Walter suddenly remembers the dating app operator whose office is close to the airport. Not long after, Walter is released with the operator's help. The two finally meet in person and share a meal together. Despite only having spoken over the phone before, they quickly connect. The operator has become fascinated by Walter's new life story. When they first spoke, Walter's life was dull and uneventful, filled with routine and no adventures at all. Now, in just a matter of days, his life has completely transformed into something exciting, all because he dared to step outside his comfort zone. When Walter returns home, he, his sister, and their mother agree to sell their late father's piano to cover daily expenses while Walter is unemployed. Just before leaving, his mother suddenly hands him the wallet Shawn gave him, the same one Walter had thrown away earlier. When he checks inside, he is stunned to discover that photo number 25 has been there all along, tucked neatly inside the wallet. Even though it is too late and no longer changes anything, Walter still keeps his promise and delivers photo number 25 to Ted before leaving for good. He reminds Ted that Life magazine has already transitioned to an online platform, and that many employees from different departments have been let go because they were deemed no longer necessary. But Walter also makes it clear that these people were never just employees. They were the ones who worked tirelessly behind the scenes to build Life's success. Inside the elevator, Walter and Hernando carry their belongings together. As they wait for the lift to go down, Hernando expresses his gratitude for having Walter as a kind and supportive boss. He wonders what the masterpiece in photo number 25 actually shows. Unfortunately, even Walter does not know yet, since the photo was never printed. The next day, at a cafe, Walter begins working on his resume to apply for new jobs. This time, he does not only list his education and work experience, he also writes about the incredible experiences he has lived through, turning his resume into something far more colorful than before. That afternoon, Walter returns to the Life office to collect his final paycheck. He meets Cheryl to encourage her so they can both find new jobs soon, and he also congratulates her on getting back together with her ex-husband. Cheryl quickly explains that Walter misunderstood the situation. Her ex only came by to see their child and help fix a broken refrigerator. She makes it clear that she never considered getting back together at all. Hearing this, Walter feels an overwhelming sense of relief. Gathering his courage, he finally asks Cheryl out on a date, and to his nervous excitement, she agrees. On their way, they unexpectedly notice the final issue of Life magazine, freshly released that very day. On the cover, it is written that this last edition is dedicated to the people who made it possible all these years. And there, as photo number 25, Shawn's greatest masterpiece, is a photograph of Walter himself. So the moral of the story is, before quitting your boring life and chasing adventure across the world, maybe double-check your wallet first.